When I was a kid, I was the only Asian in my class. Whenever the Vietnam War was mentioned, all the kids would look back at me giving that knowing smile of like, "You're Vietnamese!" And I would just nod along, perhaps a little bit confused on why that was pointed out. I remember this particular moment when a classmate of mine went up to me and asked if I was born in Vietnam. From that point on, I started to believe that I was, even though I was born in the United States. They started throwing questions at me. "Were you there when the war happened? Did you get to shoot guns and stuff?" I said yes to everything, despite not even being born during the time the Vietnam War happened. I asked my parents where I was born, and I was completely shocked when they told me I was born in the US. Everyone made me believe that I was born in Vietnam. There has always been this question of, who am I? There has been just a lack of representation. As the song, "I Can Only Write My Name" by Will J goes, it's hard to see yourself in Superman when he looks nothing like you. How could someone like me wish to become someone amazing when there are no role models that look like me on TV? According to my professor's lecture, the number of people of color in top leadership positions are low. 1 of 20 are Hollywood executives, 1 of 20 are music executives, 2 out of 29 are television executives, and 2 out of 13 are news executives. As a kid, I grew up watching Barbie and always wanted to become Barbie. A blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl, because I thought they were always the prettiest people, and that someone like me could never compare to someone like that, or become someone like that. In movies, according to my professor's lecture, 55% of movies presenting people of color use stereotypes. 20% of movies representing people of color retell a story of a famous person, and 25% of movies representing people of color have no stereotype. Meanwhile, in children's books, 80% of children's books contain white people. It's no wonder I couldn't search for a role model to look up to. It only showed characters of white people, which I'm not. But recently, according to Nick Sharp's article, Asian lead roles have increased on Netflix, report finds. It has been reported that 41.5% of series and 12.3% of films on the streaming platform in 2021 had an Asian lead or co-lead. The times have changed. There's even now an Asian Barbie doll, the Anna May Wong Barbie doll. According to the article, Barbie reveals Anna May Wong doll for AAPI Heritage Month. There were finally role models I could look up to, as well as for kids now as they read and see characters that look like them. But the question still lingers. Who am I? Although I am Vietnamese American, being the minority in the United States sometimes make it hard to fit in. The term Asian American was coined by Yuji Ichioka in the late 1960s, according to the textbook. Asian Americans were considered a forever foreigner, sometimes being asked the question, "Where are you from?" followed by a "Where are you really from?" after giving the answer of being born in the United States. People mistaken me for being Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and even Mexican. Recently at Walmart, a random woman walked up to me with an excited expression and asked if I was Chinese. I told her no, but she continued to tell me about her experience in China. There wasn't really a sense of belonging because there wasn't a lot of people like me around, and people kept questioning and assuming who I was. Being part of the model minority didn't help. People assumed I was smart, and the stereotype of being good at math didn't seem to apply to me. But even flying all the way to Vietnam didn't quite make me feel like I belonged there. My relatives in Vietnam would assume that I didn't know how to speak Vietnamese, and they would just give me this look of disappointment. Being born in America and being surrounded by the English language, you start to forget your own language and culture. According to Pew Research, the percentage of Asian Americans aged 5 and older that are US born who speak English only at home is an overwhelming amount of 65%. About a third of US Asians speak only English in their homes. The remaining 66% speak a language other than English at home, according to Pew Research. There was a saying my dad always told me, "Người Việt phải biết tiếng Việt," which means a Vietnamese person should know Vietnamese. So I attended my church's Saturday school that taught both Vietnamese and my religion. It was difficult learning the language, and honestly, I didn't have the motivation to learn Vietnamese as a kid. So, who exactly am I? I'm Jenny, a proud Vietnamese American finally figuring out my sense of belonging.